My cold open is I'm going to sing the wedding song. Dun, 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 dun. Isn't that funny? Dun, 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 dun.
It's hilarious.
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Steele, what was your wedding like? Did you have a wedding planner? I think I would want a wedding planner, but just maybe not the part where she steals my fiance.
Yeah, that seems like a no-no.
Maybe not.
You don't really see that too much from a decent wedding planner.
Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm. Welcome back to The Critics in the Crowd, your soon-to-be favorite movie podcast, where you get to hear about the most divisive media out there. The movies that divided, the shows that pitted pro against amateur. You get the idea. You're listening to the voice of one half of this film review supercrew, Steele Philippek, writer, producer, and creator extraordinaire, here to talk about all sorts of media that has professionals and audiences divided. I'm joined, as always, by my delightfully opinionated second half, Liz Ramirez. How you doing, Liz?
I am doing swell, Steele.
Great.
Hi there, everyone listening. I am Liz Ramirez, the cool co-host of Critics and the Crowd. I am an actress, producer, movie fan, and rom-com fanatic. I went through a phase in high school where I would watch one rom-com a week on Netflix, and you know what? I still can't get enough.
That explains so much.
Hey, stop.
Every week, I ask you about movies that you've seen, and you're like, oh no, I haven't heard that one. Oh no, I haven't heard of that one. 10 Things I Hate About You. Oh my Lord, my favorite movie ever. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Yes, please more. 10 Days Before the Wedding. Of course, I love that movie. Any movie with a 10 in it, or a fiancé, or a jilted bride.
Yeah, exactly.
Today, we're hitting up The Wedding Planner, a romantic comedy from 2001. The synopsis? A wedding ceremony guru who is great at throwing matrimonial parties, but is herself unlucky at love, begins to fall for the groom of one of her clients, whose opinion, and parents' money, is her key to our hero's career success. Liz, this was your pick, and it's a bit of a doozy. Quite a hit back in the day with a cult following that remains to the present, but critically savaged. Lay it on me, and don't hold back.
Okay, yes, this was my choice, and what a great choice it is. I know you may hate it, along with others, but this movie is pure nostalgia for me. It's one of the reasons I became such a huge fan of J-Lo. I know. I have loved her since Selena, and I really enjoyed her rom-com renaissance. It reminds me of my mom and how much I love her. Don't think, though, for 1 second that I haven't seen the drama that follows J-Lo. I have seen it, and that one video of her saying Schiaparelli to that one interview. I wish she says it like this, Schiaparelli, and then walks. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh my God.
I have no
Don't
clue
look.
what you're talking about.
Don't watch. It made me sad. Yeah, it sucked. And that was really shitty, but I don't really know her as a person, only what I've seen, so I don't think it's fair to speak on any of it. And I will just say I'm a huge fan of her films.
Everything I've learned about Jennifer Lopez has been against my will. I don't have any antagonism toward her. And in fact, I find that most of the coverage of her can be a little yucky at times. We tend to hold female actors to a much higher standard than we hold male actors. And I feel that some of the things she brings upon herself, but other times I think it's just standard Hollywood drama, and we don't nearly give her or people like her the pass that we do to people like, as an example, Matthew McConaughey.
Oh my God. You're so right. Or even like famous directors. Like, I don't even want to say anything because, I'm an actor.
No. Don't say anything.
I won't. I'm not.
The stats.
The Wedding Planner, starring Jennifer Lopez and Matthew McConaughey, was released on January 26, 2001 to critical derision and box office success. Shot on a budget of about $30 million, it opened at a respectable $13.5 million on its first weekend, before going on to gross around $95 million worldwide, plus an additional $20 to $30 million in aftermarket sales and rentals. Though don't quote those specific numbers, as we saw a huge skew there in reporting. Regardless, it was a very successful picture whose initial warm reception among fans has continued to cult-like status today. I know that's right. Though critics were savage at the time, the Rotten Tomatoes score has it at a 17% with the pros and 59% with audiences, a 42-point split, or a bit under 2 full stars in difference. The critical consensus?
Instead of being light and charming, this romantic comedy is heavy-handed and contrived in its execution. Also, it's too unoriginal.
Despite those and many many similar reviews, the film was a turning point in the careers of its two stars and its director.
Jennifer Lopez, who was already a pop icon, had been waffling between schlock such as Anaconda or Money Train and underperforming critical darlings such as Selena, U-Turn, and Out of Sight, all of which I would recommend. The Wedding Planner was the first in a string of highly profitable romantic comedies for Lopez, such as Made in Manhattan, Shall We Dance, Monster-in-Law, The Backup Plan, and What to Expect When You're Expecting. Also, Geely, which we will never discuss again. Matthew McConaughey had turned a small but memorable gig in Dazed and Confused into a roller coaster of an early career, careening between serious hits like A Time to Kill and Contact, with serious missteps like Larger Than Life, The Newton Boys, and Ed TV, which had the misfortune of releasing against the very similar Truman Show. The Wedding Planner, and to a lesser degree, U571, re-established Matty McSee as a strong leading man. He would go on to such other romantic films as future critics in the crowd film How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Failure to Launch, and Ghosts of Girlfriends Past, not to mention mega hits like Interstellar, Magic Mike, and Dallas Buyers Club, for which he won an Oscar for Best Actor.
Okay, how do I pronounce Geely?
It's like really, but...
Really,
yeah,
Geely.
Geely, yeah.
Should I watch that?
If you want a lesson in how everything can go wrong in a film.
Got it.
I wish I would have seen the director's cut. It's supposedly a much better film, albeit still a little bit of a mess. There was a lot of controversy. This was during the whole Bennifer.
So
that was where it all came from.
Right.
She'd literally just gotten married to her husband 3 months before that.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay, what? Okay, I don't know any of the drama.
Okay, sidebar, everybody.
Okay, sidebar. Sorry. This is the matter at hand, okay? The Wedding Planner, everybody.
And sidebar.
Yes. This was director Adam Shankman's directorial debut. Before this, Shankman had dropped out of Juilliard to dance professionally in theater and later choreographing on music videos and television, most notably for Friends and The Ellen DeGeneres Show. The success of this film earned him a bevy of similarly profitable titles such as A Walk to Remember, Bringing Down the House, The Pacifier, Cheaper by the Dozen Too, and especially Hairspray, Steele's favorite musical of the 2000s.
The best.
No, truly, really is the best.
Chicago won an Oscar, and I don't understand why.
What? Pause. Hold on. Stop. Hold the phone.
Another sidebar.
Another sidebar, because what? Wait a second. Chicago is my favorite. Hairspray is... Okay. Again, back to the matters at hand.
Shot in San Francisco and Napa Valley, among other locations, the production didn't see any significant delays or cost overruns. Shankman said that he was initially worried about Lopez and McConaughey's chemistry, as they were radically different people and approached their craft very differently, but that they actually worked incredibly well together. During the 20th anniversary celebration of the film's release, Jennifer Lopez was effusive in her praise for McConaughey, recalling her magical experience she had working with McConaughey. Quote,
I so enjoyed working with you.
Unquote. Lopez told her co-star, quote,
we had such a nice rapport and chemistry. We were somewhat at the beginning of our careers at the time. I'm trying to do like a Brooklyn act.
I know.
It's not really working. I really didn't try, actually. I was just trying to be like Jennifer. Anyway, I just love her so much. It was exciting to be working on any movie. I still feel that way. It was a magical time.
Unquote. Liz, the audience cannot see your hands motioning.
Oh my God. Why would you tell them that? Listen, I'm trying.
Initial thoughts. This movie, along with the other rom-coms of Lopez and McConaughey, kind of all orbit each other in my skull. I've actually seen a fair bunch and remember liking How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, but came into this movie sight unseen.
I absolutely love this movie. It's the reason I have a special place in my heart for brown M&Ms. If you know, you know. This is one of my mom and I's favorite movies to watch whenever it's on. She's the reason I love rom-coms, but you know, aren't all of our moms the reason we love rom-coms?
Actually, my father's the reason I like romantic
You're kidding
comedies.
me.
He showed me all sorts of romantic comedies. He was big on Australian cinema, odd, and romantic comedies. I watched South Pacific very young. I remember watching that.
My gosh, I take everything back.
Way to be heteronormative.
Thank you. Okay.
For me, Jennifer Lopez and Matthew McConaughey are such mixed bags. She was amazing in Selena and Out of Sight, but has been outacted by CGI reptiles. Similarly, I think McConaughey deserved his Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club and has been amazing in Interstellar, Wolf of Wall Street, and Contact, but the less said about his turns in The Paperboy, The Dark Tower, and Tiptoes especially tiptoes, the better. For me, he suffers from Brad Pitt syndrome. He's got significant talent, but when he just relies on his looks, well,
Paperboy was crazy. Paperboy?
all over the place.
I've watched it twice now, and I regret the second time as well. It's the first time.
You know what they say, fool me once.
It was shame on me both times. I have a thing for John Cusack.
Who doesn't?
These two, Jennifer Lopez and Matthew McConaughey, in my opinion, have incredible chemistry. And I feel like that is undeniable. But maybe Matthew McConaughey can have chemistry with a stuffed animal. I don't know. I think I learned to be a type A woman from this movie. And I love how organized and put together J-Lo is, or, well, Mary is. I mean, who keeps super glue handy on them?
When I clicked on the thumbnail, I knew I was going to be upset because I saw Matthew McConaughey's hair color. So instead of watching it in my natural state on my phone as I wait for my children to fall asleep so I too can rest, I recruited my wife. This is her kind of film, and I was hoping that her love would be infectious.
Did it work?
No spoilers. You can find the film on Netflix if you'd like to watch it.
All of my thoughts to say, I really love this movie, and it is an absolute dream of mine to be in a rom-com like this one. If there are any directors listening, Steele, if you ever want to write a rom-com,
I've written several, actually.
Oh my God! Okay, so why haven't you called me? This is the worst news, actually. I think I feel hurt. All right. Without any further ado, The Wedding Planner. Dum, 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 dum.
That's the third time you've done that. It gets better every time.
Thank you. We start off with some solid soundtrack exposition. So lonely, dreaming about the perfect guy. He will live around the block, or far, across the sea. You know the drill. A young girl, Mary Fiore, is setting up her Barbie and Ken dolls for an extravagant, multi-nuptial wedding. Mary tells Barbie that she's the luckiest girl in the world.
And we cross-cut to the present, where Mary is telling a nervous bride the same exact thing. After all, Mary planned Whitney Houston's wedding, and this bride is even more beautiful. And aside, no fault of the film, as it was released in 2001, but Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown got divorced in 2007. That line hits a little different now. Anyway, the bride is having second thoughts, but using a little bit of flattery, Mary reels our girl back in. It starts with just her good looks, but don't worry. It's also about her groom, who also likes her good looks. We're starting this marriage off on the right foot. I was walking into this movie blind, essentially, and then I saw Judy Greer's name pop up, and I said, strap yourselves in. There is going to be at least one element of this movie that I like. For those of you who don't know, Judy Greer's turn on Arrested Development is one of the greatest comedic TV performances of the 21st century, and it's almost to her detriment because she's been so good in so many things, and the only thing I can think of when I see her is, say goodbye to these, as she flashes her breasts. And then Fred Willard's name pops up, and there will be two elements that I enjoy.
Upon rewatching the film, okay, well, first of all, I have to talk about the Whitney Houston remark. I mean, yeah, it hits different, way different. I mean, she's dead now, so like that's even worse. But I don't know. Have I ever liked Bobby Brown? I don't know. And maybe we should just cut anything I just said about that right now out.
It's all going in.
Oh, good, great, okay, good. I'm sorry, Whitney. I love you. And okay. Upon rewatching, I did find the opening song to be a little silly and on the nose, but I think it really sets the tone for what we're about to watch. I was so giddy in my seat, ready to just view this thing. And the Barbie intro is so cute. And that orangey tone, flashback, dreamy lighting over Mary as she plays with her Barbies. I mean, it's how I would like to remember my childhood. And I really liked the genuineness from Jennifer. Right, when she's talking to this bride. I mean, she really feels very, like she really is, this is what she's saying. And I mean, she's convincing me that, yeah, he's lucky to have me. I'm the luckiest girl in the world. But I think that's what makes us fall in love with her right from the very beginning. At least someone like me. I don't know about you, Steele, but did you feel anything?
I feel at this beginning, we're going to get a little bit more into this as we continue on, right. But I felt at the beginning she is very good. She evokes genuineness, and she's obviously very competent at her job. I don't really like all the commentary about weight and beauty.
Okay,
It is the early aughts, so yeah, and her groom is a man named Tom who only cares about her looks. Like I think that One could make the argument that she's appealing to this bride in a way that will make the bride feel more comfortable in getting up in front of a lot of people. But I feel that Jennifer Lopez herself is doing yeoman's work here at the very top because she is front and center for this entire opening sequence.
Yeah, and this opening sequence is also so important because we have a callback to it later when she's trying to get Fran to, calm her wedding jitters, so to speak, even though Mary knows the truth. It's important for our script, and I think it is sweet, and it makes that moment where she's explaining to Fran much more poignant because it's like, oh, Mary's being selfless in a way, being like, it's okay, all that stuff, repeating everything. And so we're like, Mary, no, but you're the one for him, not Fran. So I think it makes us love her even more even later. Anyway, I just think it's smart. I just think it's smart writing ploys, I suppose. Yeah, okay. And let's back to it.
Mary is in her element at the ceremony. Marriage is not her game. Weddings are. Just get the bride to the altar, separate those breasts, fix those flowers, stop flirting, put that tower out of the way of the camera. Stop drinking, boys. Mary wrangles the family, the priest, the flowers, her assistant Penny. That's Judy Greer for all of you Philistines out there. The lights.
But not the father of the bride. Now Mary shows her true chops. Crisis mode. She finds the man, pulls out her utility belt, covers up the smell of hooch, and now the wedding is on. Penny is crying, but Mary is cool. But not really. Back in her apartment, Mary prepares dinner with a big glass of wine and Antiques Roadshow Columbus. A bad choice.
Everybody knows that Cleveland is the city with the best secondhand stores. Everything is in its proper place, properly folded, properly ready to go, and then Betty Bye alone. I actually really do love her Batman utility belt. I love the world building. It really works. It sets her character. It sets the tone. It sets her person. My wife agreed. She was hooked like a marlin. She was ready for this moment in this. And she says, I'm the wedding planner. We have a title. It's all of these elements. And as you say, setting up so much for later on. I think that this segment of the film, regardless of my other opinions, works very, very well.
Okay. Yeah, I realized as I was watching that this film has been so influential for who I am today. I'm a very organized person, and her little pouch with anything she might need, like her little utility belt, it is the fanny pack that I have today. And I make sure it has everything I could need on my day out. Maybe these type A characters work with Jennifer so well because she is known to know what she wants. And some may call that being a diva or being tough, but I think that makes her a badass woman, which I can definitely respect. And I have to say, I really loved her documentary where she covers hustlers and the Super Bowl. I haven't seen the new one about her latest film, but I definitely have seen all the hate for it. Anyway, back to this film, which I can definitely respect.
The scene where she's doing everything in her apartment, it is a trope of romantic comedies where you see the woman, almost always the woman at home alone, and it's like, oh, she needs a man in her life, and I don't really like that, and I really don't like scenes that are typically just with a single person unless there is something going on, and the reason is there's no drama. It's just exposition.
Oh, yeah.
J-Lo, she doesn't raise this by any stretch, kind of bland here, but I don't think it's necessarily her fault. I think that there's just nothing going on. She's just kind of going through the motions, which is fine. They're establishing her character. It is early. Just there was so much momentum and then it stops dead in its tracks. I will say my wife loved the apartment scene, at least up until Mary slept with the windows open. Quote, that's stupid, unquote. I would agree. To quote Mark Twain, the coldest winter I ever spent was a summer in San Francisco, unquote.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of aspire for that life that Mary has in the film. I think I live pretty close to it, which is kind of nice to see on screen and also very scary to see on screen because I'm like, is that me? Is that really what I look like when I do that? But, don't worry. I am still pretty laid back and chill and fun. And God, she is so put together and I'm jealous. But, it's just a movie, Liz. It is just a movie.
That good feeling of a job well done lasts until Mary is board gaming with a much more mature crowd. She's an expert Scrabble player with octogenarian crowd, not the least of which is her father, who has found her a groom. Can you hear wedding bells?
Bing, 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 bing. Is that how they go?
I guess.
Bing, bing.
I was throwing it to you to read the
Oh! He literally brings in the potential groom, Justin Chambers. Massimo. In the Italian summer they spent as youth, he was infatuated. He's a little oily, a little nervous, but he's ready and smooth as a used disposable razor. Mary? Nope. She's out. Everyone loved the Scrabble scene. I think Jennifer gets to show off her comedy bone here, and of course, throughout the film, she gets to show that off. And I think she's funny with the few moments that she has here. And, you know, maybe it could be a little too overplayed, but again, this is her first romantic comedy after, you know, the, like, Selena and, you know, that very serious thing she did where did she play the Virgin Mary? Am I crazy?
No,
she didn't.
I don't know. Maybe.
Pause. I have to know what that first one. Yeah, okay, so she was in My Family. You know, you're coming off of things like that and Anaconda. But, you know, this is the first one, and I think she's really, you know, for lack of a better word, quirky and funny, and I really liked her. I thought I'm falling in love with her.
So I'm going to say this later. Like, I'm not sure she's necessarily quirky for me. I think they're trying to capture her as the every woman. You know, that she's this person with a job that she's good at. Maybe not. Maybe the every woman's the wrong term. I think they're trying to position her as a woman of authority and in control of her life, and she's good at her job, and she doesn't need a man, and it's kind of like this aspirational figure. It can come across later on a little flat for me, but for here, I do like the Scrabble scene too. It's a little trite. But there's some good jokes. I liked that her father and she are going back and forth, and everybody's still playing Scrabble. There are small gags here and throughout the film that I think are really funny. And it does further cement Mary's status while giving us something other than just pure exposition. And they bring it back several times later in the film as well. It's not just like one scene with Scrabble and it never comes back.
Right, exactly. That's what I was about to say. I will take quirky back, though. You're right. Quirky just seems to... It just didn't feel like the right word. But you know, she's funny, and I like that. Yeah, Scrabble playing is a great trait of Mary's because it does get to come back in a very romantic way later, which we won't spoil, but we're going to talk about later. Her father. We have to talk about her father for a second. I have a love-hate relationship with her father.
Oh, I just have a hate-hate relationship.
Oh, hate-hate. Okay, hate-hate. I can understand the sweetness of a father who wants their daughter to be happy, but oh my gosh, chill out, dude, please. Oh my gosh. When I was younger, even, I felt the same way. I would really just didn't understand why I didn't like this guy, but as I'm grown up now, I really understand it. But I understand him more. So I guess the actor and the script really did their jobs really well. Also, okay, don't laugh. I had to look up Justin Chambers because I was like, I swear I've seen that guy somewhere, you know? And I was like, but the guy I've seen, he has an American accent, so that can't be this guy. This guy's like Italian, right?
Liz, you're an actor.
Listen! And he just looks so different. And I think his teeth were different in this movie too.
Probably.
So that's why I was like, this is not the same guy. This guy's like a one-off, like, you know, a Z-list actor who just like came in and like left. But no, he's Karev.
Yes. For those who don't know, Justin Chambers is a veteran of 16 seasons of Grey's Anatomy. 341 episodes. His turn as Massimo here is kind of like a Kirkland James Marsden to me, but there's some charms.
Kirkland James Marsden, that's a good line. That was really, and it's honestly so accurate. Okay.
Thank you. I'll be here all week. Try the veal.
Mary walks into the empire of nuptials that is her workplace and up to the office of her boss, Jerry. Mary is there to pitch for a gig. Fran Donnelly, the heir to a nouveau riche couple who is desperate to make their entrance into old money society. Mary wants more than to hoover up some of that moolah, though. She wants to make partner. Jerry is unsure, but Mary has made her money and made contact. The Donnellys are going to see her work at another wedding. We'll see how this goes.
Ever the perky assistant, Penny is trying to get Mary on a date. It's been 2 years, but Mary is too cliched out. Busy with all of her other career stuff. Massimo is there, however, and Penny thinks that they'd be a perfect match. No way. Shanghaiing Penny into her subterfuge, Mary sneaks out. This is where the film begins to lose a little steam for me. Not completely. I do like the next scene that's coming up, but it takes us 11 minutes to get to her workplace, and we barely see it again. And there's a worthless scene of her buying a newspaper here, too. Why?
Okay, Steele, I'm going to stop you right in your tracks, okay? Right in your tracks? I'm going to just stop you, okay? Screw the tracks. This scene one is establishing her workplace, which is so important for us to understand because we need to understand how dire Mary's goal is. We have to know just how much this account means to her. It also makes her more dimensional. And this movie passes the Bechdel test with this specific scene with Jerry. Mary talks to Jerry about getting a career boost, and that is super important to her. Work is her life, which I know is overplayed, and I know a lot of people also can relate to. Though this is a trite idea, it works and gives us yet another stake for Mary. And the newspaper was not pointless, and it was not a newspaper, it was a magazine, and Mary needed it to show the profitability of the Donnelly account to back up her stance on becoming partner. The Donnellys were on the face of the magazine. Thank you so much. I did have to rewatch the scene I did have to watch the scene to double check that I got that right. Okay.
Perfectly said.
Yeah. Hey.
I will walk that back. Now that you say that, I can see that. I did not pick that up the first time around.
You're good. Easy to miss.
I will say that that's a slight against this at this point in the film. At other points, I find that the editing is, if not superlative, it works. Here, it's very choppy. That could be the editor's fault. That could be the director's fault. That could be the production's fault. I don't know. It's hopping around a lot, and not in a way like Tarantino. It's like they're entering from one area, exiting into another. It feels choppy to me.
Yeah, I don't really have as keen of an eye as you do for editing and that sort of stuff. I'm just an actor.
Your job is to act.
Oh, thanks. Be like, stand here.
Say my words, damn it.
Exactly. That's all I have to do. Say something someone else wrote for me because I'm not that smart.
I love Kathy Najimy, Sister Act, Rat Race, Soap Dish, and of course, the Kathy and Mo Show. There's also Hocus Pocus, which I know some of you listeners love, but it is not a Steele kind of Halloween picture.
Hold on. Because you don't like Hocus Pocus? This is the worst news. Besides you writing rom-coms and not calling me about them. Steele, your co-host, loves this movie. I mean, you could probably gather that from what I've just said. I love Hocus Pocus. It is a Halloween annual must-watch, and you have to tell me your thoughts about it after we finish recording because there's nothing you could say that could change my mind.
I will say a lot of people love that movie. It's a part of a lot of people's childhoods. That's absolutely fine. It has an obsession with virginity that I find to be a little unsettling for a young adult picture.
Oh. Yeah. That whole candle thing, yeah. But that one guy who's the devil in it is so funny.
Look, there are another sidebar. Judy Greer steals the shot every time she's on screen. I honestly can't tell if that's because I love her or I just don't care as much about Mary in these scenes. Elsa Bridges Sampras, Pete Sampras' wife, is also a fun addition to this growing cast as Fran, and I like that she's opinionated without being overtly evil. Sometimes in these romantic comedies, there's the other woman, and she has to be evil. She has to be gross, because that's the only way that the protagonist can steal away the man appropriately, because otherwise she's just a man-stealer.
Right. I really like that about this movie. I really like that both of these women are both incredible women, intelligent, smart, beautiful. And that's not the reason, or like her being evil isn't the reason she's just not the right one. And I think that's so nice to see that it's not like Mary's stealing him away. It's really not that. It's just that he himself, Steve, Eddie, whoever the hell, and I'm kidding, it's Steve Edison, Matthew McConaughey.
Maddie McSee!
Yeah, it's just him it's not the right girl for him. And I really like how they created her, a strong woman just trying to figure out what she wants. And, I guess even the rich and powerful can be struggling with life choices just like us.
Mo money, mo problems. They had something similar in Sweet Home Alabama, where you have two guys.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I actually spoke to the director, Andy Tennant, when it came out, and he was
My
saying...
face is like this. Oh, wait, you can't see it. My face, mouth agape, eyes wide.
And he talked about how in test screenings, that was a huge mark against it for male audiences. They felt that it wasn't good to have two guys vying for the same girl, and the girl picks the guy, and the other guy's fine with it. And they were like, he has to cheat. He has to do something wrong to deserve being tossed away so she can go back to it. And there are some elements of that film that I don't think age all that well, but I thought that was a decent choice. I think it's a decent choice here to have two people interested in the same guy, and one of them just realizes he's not for her.
What about This Means War? Nothing bad happened to those two. Have you ever seen that with Reese Witherspoon and the star of Venom, Tom Hardy?
My face, audiences, went blank. I had no idea.
You don't know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, very quickly. This means war. Reese Witherspoon, Chris Pine, I almost said Tom Brady. That would have been crazy. Tom Hardy. Basically, Tom Hardy and Chris Pine are two best friends, like almost like brothers that work for like the CIA, right? But they're like, supposed to be regular guys out in the regular world. And Tom Hardy is a single father. Chris Pine is like, an eligible bachelor. You want to say that line again, sidebar whole thing?
Yeah. Sidebar.
And we're back.
My wife was laughing at everything in this sequence, except for some problematic humor from Jerry and Penny's perkiness. Did you feel that the deportation joke that Jerry makes here is tasteless even for the time?
Yeah, I thought it was a really bad joke. And, it stung pretty bad watching it again in this time. And I think the joke, it could have been anything else. Literally anything else. Even a different gag, to show Jerry's unkind bossness,
Yeah, they are trying to make her out to be the bad boss.
Right. We cut immediately to another wedding. The best man seems to be giving the best man speech ever, and it's no wonder. Mary is feeding him his speech via an earpiece. It impresses Fran Donnelly, who pulls Mary over to meet her fiancé. Well, no, not fiancé. He's NID, not into details, as Mary explains. And so Mary meets the parents of the bride. They're a little gauche with their manners, to really showcase their new money status to the audience, but also want no expenses spared. Given carte blanche, Mary lays it thick. Botanical gardens, silk, lights. It's so romantic that the Donnellys agree immediately. 3 months? June wedding? No problem.
Mary is so overwhelmed by the sound of an American Express black card hitting the table that she's nearly run over as she races away in celebration. Thankfully, she is literally swept off of her feet by one Steve Edison. He's charming, if a bit of a bumbler, and Mary passes out in his arms.
My thing is, Steele, it never seems like Mary is in it for the money. She seems to really enjoy her job and take it very seriously. And once again, it's her life. Yeah, being a partner would mean big bucks, but that seems to be just a side effect of the true work Mary wants to do. She wants to be a renowned wedding planner who is in a position that she worked hard for. Who wouldn't want credit for that?
I cannot watch these films with my wife. She laughed at every joke and loved every scene. I actually did love the small gags here. I thought it was hilarious when the best man came up and thanked Mary. For me, the small gags, I thought every single one lands. The bigger, broader moments, I just am not into as much.
I can see where you're coming from. I love that your wife loved, or at least, liked this film. I should watch movies with her more often. I find J-Lo to be relatable, sweet, and genuine, and she has this magnetism that draws you in, and, maybe it's because I knew actress Jenny first and not the one from the block, but I can suspend belief here, and I really love her character.
I'm the opposite. She's gorgeous. She's a superstar. It's like casting Tom Cruise as the bumbling everyman, which, by the way, he has been cast many times, and each time I still am like, I just don't quite buy it. She's not a problem here. She's just, for me, she doesn't elevate the role.
I didn't like Rain Man. Sorry, that's random.
No comment from Steele.
I liked it, but I didn't like it. Tom Cruise is just so mean, and I'm like, I wonder if that's how he's like in real life. But he does send coconut cakes. Maybe I take it all back because I want a coconut cake later in life. Anyway.
After the taxi driver hits a garbage bin, J-Lo goes back for her shoes. Women be shopping. Matthew McC rescues her because she can't go out without her shoes. The cliches are so thick, you need a machete. I get that there's a genre lexicon that's being used, but please. And then Matty McC himself. He smells like sweet red plums and grilled cheese sandwiches, she says as she collapses literally into his arms. He's so charming. For me, he's shockingly uncharming for a guy who is a 10 out of 10.
I have to stop you. Those glasses that he has, he looks so handsome. He does look like an everyman in this film.
He is a hunk.
No,
everyman?
but no. Like he's hot.
A doctor.
No, he's hot.
You cannot be hot and an everyman.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. He is like the hot everyman. He is like a hot everyman. I don't know how to explain this, but he's not like ripped because he doesn't need to be. He wears sweaters with layers. He has glasses, little spectacles, making him look like Benjamin Franklin. But I love it. I'm eating it up.
The hot everyman. That sounds like a 90s alternative band.
God, we should make that.
I have this in my notes at the moment J-Lo passes out. Quote, this is not my movie, unquote.
Okay, wait. I have to give away a little. I have to point out, really, a subtle Easter egg in the film. There is a hint that she's about to meet the love of her life because she is walking by the same cathedral that was in the painting picture that Mary was playing with her Barbies in front of.
Oh, I didn't notice that. That's cute.
Right? And it's like right at the top of the meet cute, and I noticed it while watching again, and it just made me love the movie even more. I think this is a fun and exciting meet cute, and it gets our leads up close and personal, and he literally saves her life. I wish this would happen to me. You know, this is like top 3 meet cutes in rom-com history, and I feel like it's a dream for women and men. And I have heard things about how guys fantasize about saving the day. Is that true?
A, yes. B, I was out with a friend. I'll call him George. He's married now, but he has this magnetism to him that women love. He was walking into a bar, a woman tripped coming out and literally fell into his arms.
Whoa.
And you could see from her eyes, if he had said, let's go to Las Vegas, she would have been on that flight immediately. This happened to him all the time. All the time. We go into the bar. 15 minutes later, he comes in and we're like, where is she? Where is this woman who would have given you her life? And he goes, I wasn't ready to stop drinking yet.
Jesus, George. Ugh. Okay, so maybe I didn't really like the fainting aspect. I did think it was silly even when I was younger. I was like, oh my God, girl, wake up. But it is important because it helps us jump to the hospital scene, which, is really needed. Also, this is kind of a weird take, but I think that J-Lo and Zendaya have the same acting style.
Zendaya?
Zendaya. Oh. I love Zendaya also, by the way.
You can tell that I am not her biggest fan, by the way.
Oh, hey now.
Adam Shankman would go on to direct Hairspray, and the direction and editing in that film I find superlative. And this is much more workaday. I can kind of see where he's going. I will admit this is his first feature film. It is of an era. I just feel it's kind of, I wouldn't call it bland. It's just very standard, right down the middle.
Okay, yeah, and I think that you are right, and I think you're right. It is his first film. That's what I was about to say. I was like, don't you come for my man, my Adam Shankman, because I really do love Hairspray and A Walk to Remember. I lay my head back. You know that? And she anyway, it's just so good. Bland, standard. It's standard, and it's safe also, and which I think is important.
As you say it, yeah, it's safe. This is not a film that is taking chances. To me, that's not necessarily a film I want to see, but it's not for me. It has an audience.
Okay. Wait, do you like any rom-coms? Do you have a top 3 rom-com?
Oh my Lord, we're going to get into this
later.
No,
because I'll tell you if your top 3 are right, okay? Because I bet you can't even name 5. And I may not know any random French films or have ever seen Citizen Kane, but I sure do know a feel-good rom-com, okay?
Sidebar. Steele's Top 5 Romantic Comedies. 10 Things I Hate About You. Moonstruck. The Wedding Singer. Bridget Jones's Diary. When Harry Met Sally.
Honestly, wow, that was actually really good. I'm very impressed, and you guys don't know this, but Steele pulled up a file on his computer, and he just has it ready to go. I really like that. Anyway, and back.
Mary wakes up in the hospital with a neck brace and 3 totes of adorbs and precocious kids climbing all over her. Steve is there, ready to treat his patient. Patients? No, not J-Lo. He is a pediatrician. He's checking in on her, though. So not only is he hot, and I'm using quotes there, but he's rich and a doctor. They awkwardly make convo without really going anywhere. Mary checks out his office like a creep would check out someone's medicine cabinet, and then goes into overdrive to make herself look pretty. Remember? It's all about looking pretty.
Mary does some awkward checking out and scoping. Is that your girlfriend? No. His sister. A fun fact, that's Maddie McSee in drag, which I had no idea. Isn't that crazy? I was like, what? Here comes Penny to freak out about this obvious hottie who is obviously into Mary. Obviously. Mary is unsure, but Penny moves in to scope out this guy like he's a great white in a Richard Attenborough film. She's either going to stake a claim or force him on Mary. It goes back and forth, and whoop, we're at an outdoor movie. Or carnival. There's a screen and a Ferris wheel. If you're confused, don't worry. You're not alone. It seems that everybody assumes that this is a date. Save Mary.
Penny very ungraciously excuses herself to allow Steve and Mary to have some alone time at the blanket she's reserved, thanks to Bert, a member of her father's Scrabble club, where Mary regales Steve with her backstory and how she became a card-carrying member of said word-based board game. Steve's got his own insecurities. He only eats brown M&Ms. These two oddballs dance while the musical they came to watch begins to play. Then they almost kiss, but curse you, Thor! A downpour opens up and pushes them away.
I think that this date is so idyllic. Truly. It is one of the most iconic scenes in this movie, sans the lying. And Adam even says he purposefully chose the most romantic settings possible and most dreamlike. And, boy, does this one hit it out of the park. I'm sure there's lots of... This is also a sidebar, but I'm sure... Shut up! I'm sure there's lots of romantic stuff to do in New York City, but I just haven't found it yet. And, what a dream park date this was.
I'm sorry. Real sidebar. There's no romantic spot in New York City?
Okay, there is, but is there a park that's has a tree where I can watch a movie on the side of a library?
Yes, many of them. You can actually watch a movie on the side of the New York Public Library in Bryant Park.
Oh my God. Wait, that's so romantic.
There is a pier. There's Pier 60 where you can, and Pier 2 where you can watch movies overlooking the Hudson. There's the High Line, which walks through Chelsea, and they're above, and there's lights.
Oh yeah, there's the High Line. Maybe it's because I just don't leave my house.
Liz.
Yeah.
Find yourself a guy.
Okay.
And I will play Cyrano de Bergerac and get you two to fall in love at a dozen New York spots, okay?
I'm all about this, actually. Okay.
Okay, so I went into this movie blind, and I knew, of course, that Steve was the groom-to-be, and it makes his actions here so creepy. Lying by omission much? And then Mary makes a comment about how Steve took some dance classes and that makes him gay. Even by the demanding standards set by the time and place, this film is remarkably problematic at points.
I completely agree. I do think his actions are really shitty. And, in the movie's defense, he is unsure of his upcoming nuptials. So, I think the movie does... I don't know, they do gray area okay. Sometimes there are no answers for the heart, right? But they, do an okay job of trying to justify it, I guess. But in the end, and for all of us, it is justified because Mary is the one and not Fran. So everything is okay, right?
Yeah. We immediately get cute kids here. My original note is a bit much because I was furious at this film for hitting the biological clock and father figure and wealthy potential partner buttons all at the same time. I'm not going to read it. Liz, you can see it. It's all in uppercase letters.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
You want me to go for it?
Sure.
Okay. Pump out those...
Liz, the film that they were watching in the park is 2 Tickets to Broadway. Have you seen it? I asked rhetorically.
Oh my God. I was wondering what that joke meant when I was reading it earlier in the script, and I was like, what's 2 Tickets to Broadway? That gives you your answer, doesn't it, I suppose? But I guess I'll watch it now. Okay, Citizen Kane, Ash vs. the Evil Dead, and 2 Tickets to Broadway. Got it. I'll put that on the list.
Mary's mixed on what to do next, but then fate intervenes. She is at a dance class with a client, hoping to spiff up some moves before the showstopper at that client's own wedding, when who should she meet up with but Fran and her fiancé Eddie? That is, Steve Edison. Steve wants to continue their last dance, but Mary, rightly, is furious with him for leading her on. Did he? She kept saying it wasn't a date.
This gets Mary into a little hot water, but Penny, suddenly more concerned with capitalism than the power of awkward matchmaking, has to reel the wedding planner back in. This is about Mary's career. She's going to make partner. So what if there was the potential for some pre-wedding jitters? Mary reluctantly agrees to go back to planning the wedding.
This was the point in the film where my wife's face fell. She literally said, quote, "Okay, I don't like this movie anymore," unquote. And she was dead silent for the rest of the film.
Okay. Whoa, that one is tough. Okay. Here are my thoughts. I think Mary thinking it over is for the audience and also for her. We need to know that she's not evil, and we need to know that she thinks it may be morally wrong, but in the end, she picks career. Was that the best move? I think so. She worked so hard for 5 years, as we learn, and now has the chance to be partner. She won't let some sleazeball ruin it for her. Only a few months of life, then it's over. But, it really is so hard to pick because she should probably tell Fran that her soon-to-be is stepping out on her. I also have to say I really did enjoy the confrontation scene. They see face-to-face, and I thought it was very good, and another iconic one in the film. And I don't even think I was listening to what they were saying. His excuses really are no good. But if you know, maybe.
Some of the criticism I've seen of this film is that there's too much happenstance, that he just happens to show up here with his fiancée. I don't actually buy that criticism. I think that coincidence, when it solves a problem, is bad in narrative, but when it creates a problem is actually good, because that is kind of unexpected, and it's kind of like life. You ever walk into a bar and you see an X? Ugh, it's happened to me way too many times.
Oh my God. Also, can we get a little commotion for that red dress? Oh my gosh, the costuming in this movie is so good. It's so good. Okay, thank you.
I wish you could see her face when she said that.
A travel montage. And what better place to wind up at than Napa Valley? Overrated wine, overpriced venues, the perfect locale for the nouveau riche. Mary is bringing the Donnellys on a whistle-stop tour of various locales when, horror of horrors, Massimo appears. This man is persistent and delusional. He introduces himself as Mary's fiancé. It looks like the shoe is on the other foot with Steve, or the same foot? Does it? Never mind.
Mary tries to escape by a horseback ride through the countryside with Fran's parents, but Mrs. Donnelly's singing, which she has been forbidden to perform by her daughter, spooks Mary's horse, which bolts. Steve comes to the rescue again, but rather than sweep her off her feet, he scolds her for condemning him for hiding his engagement when she's similarly intended.
I have to also point out the fact that she gets saved now twice by Matthew, and each one feels so good and not stupid or annoying at all. And maybe that's just because Matthew is perfect and genuine and witty and smart and funny. I feel like Penny right now.
Two wrongs don't make a right, particularly when there isn't even two wrongs. Why doesn't Mary correct Massimo and everybody about their engagement?
Okay, I think she doesn't say anything because she's embarrassed and, is embarrassed to explain it in front of her clients who she's trying to be professional in front of, okay? Also, I have to talk about Massimo. Massimo. I always thought Massimo was pretty attractive and sweet, but after rewatching it, he's a bit of a machismo ass and goofy and fun, but I really do like him because he's like a goofy little fun side character that is a necessary push for our characters.
I don't dislike Massimo. I think the performance is great. Yes, he's macho and he's a little greasy, but that's kind of his character.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, he's a little exaggerated, and it creates chaos in a place where otherwise it might be a little static. So I think his character works. I just hate the narrative choice that they couldn't figure out a way for Mary to correct or figure it out or say something about it. She could even say it to Eddie when they're together. She's like, he's delusional. He think we were talking about this, and then they can get into a tete-a-tete. I don't know.
But then it's just to explain her father's thing, which is a whole other thing, which she also. You really want to add to that jealousy, you know what I'm saying? She's like, oh yeah, you're a little jealous of me that I have a little boyfriend now? What? I don't know. That's just part of my thinking a little bit.
You can't see it, audience, but Liz is twirling her hair and really getting into that little jealousy angle.
Yeah.
Working with animals is a nightmare. At least with horses, you can train them. They're a much more intelligent animal, but there's always the potential for something to go wrong.
Yeah, horses scare me, dude. Have you ever seen Gone with the Wind? I've literally been scarred ever since their daughter got flipped off of that thing and breaks her neck. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. Anyway, next.
Mary has had enough. She confronts her father about Massimo and his behavior. This isn't romantic. None of this was romantic. Steele wholeheartedly agrees. Salvatore, Mary's father, thinks that Mary's being too stringent. After all, his own marriage to Mary's mother was arranged. It only became romantic after many, many months of wooing.
It's a light twist in the plot. Kinda, and a twist in Mary's heart. She's always thought that her own parents had the perfect marriage. It's one of the unspoken reasons she loves planning weddings, to see people fulfill their love in front of family and friends. Mary is now conflicted about what to do. Do Massimo's clumsy attempts at seduction reveal a hidden romantic that she could come to love? Or perhaps Steve's own duplicitousness could be a mere quibble on the road to matrimony.
Why did she have to be Italian? Do you think the studio was scared of having a Latina main character? It's Jennifer Lopez! Please explain it away, Liz.
Okay. Yeah, this one's kind of... I think it's because this is, I'm sure the script was already written this way, and
scripts are never rewritten.
Hey, literally? Shut up. I don't know. Arranged marriages really aren't common in Latin culture, but I also really don't think that they're common in Italian culture, but I really don't even know.
They're not really. Yes.
I could have just made that up.
Yeah.
I do like her name though, Mary Fiore. That it's nice. I also want to talk about the softness of the film. I want to talk about rom-coms from this era, the ones from the 90s to 2000s. This softness of the film and how they just feel like home. Can you explain, Steele, or do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Movie coloring and I think, is that because we transferred to digital now and, bring back fuzzy film? I like it.
That is a part of it. A part of it is that it's shot on film. And so it has a natural grain to it. And you can see this in many movies from that era. There's a lot of literature on this. Shockingly, when I looked into this, one of the leading theories is that many films like this were trying to evoke the imagery of magazines. And so the imagery of wedding planning magazines. And so that's why you have certain colors, certain angles, certain looks, that softness, that kind of airbrush quality. I think that part of that is a deliberate choice by the director, but also, yes, of course. But also it is of an era when there was, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Why try to go and do something radical with the formats when you might wind up with something like Forces of Nature, which subverts the expectations and thus gets critically savage and fans just do not turn out for the film. And so this is the kind of film for a fan of romantic comedies. You can see every punch that this film is throwing, and everybody in the audience is like, yes, give me more. Punch me again. Mary will have to deal with conflicting emotions as she returns to Napa to settle on a location. The venues are endless, as is the budget. But as Mary tries to remain professional, Fran takes advantage by leaving on a business trip, allowing fiancé Steve/Eddie to work with her to produce the best wedding since Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown.
As everybody knows, planning a wedding brings out the best in everybody, and soon Mary and Steve have patched up their differences and ended the drama. And just in time, as Mary is confronted by another heaping spoonful of drama in the form of her ex-fiancé, Keith. He left her for another woman, Wendy, or rather, Mary caught Keith cheating on her with Wendy on the night of Mary and Keith's rehearsal dinner. But of course, all is forgiven, right? It's cool that engaged couples can play some last-minute hanky-panky, right? That's what Steve and Mary agreed to put behind them, right? Right?
Keith came out of nowhere for me. This film does a lot to set up a lot of things, and I would have liked even an inkling up front to get a sense that she had been engaged. There were so many opportunities when Penny's been like, you haven't been on a date in 2 years, ever since. And Mary can say, don't talk about it. There would have been something there for me, and it just is dumped in our lap.
I can agree with that. I agree it's important for us to also know why, without her just having clean cut morals, it's important for us to see, because it leads to the this future scene where I think we'll get into it, but the future scene where Mary is drunk and talking about how she was hurt so badly and she doesn't want that for Fran, and that's why he walks away in the end. She's like, no, he confesses his love or feelings for her, and she's like, go away. And I think it makes us love Mary. We're like, yeah, stand up for yourself, girl. Don't let some man make you lose your morals. I don't know. But I also want to talk about the trope of meeting exes. This is one of my least favorite ones. Like when you see your ex out or something, it's like, oh my God, pretend like you're doing this with me. Pretend like, oh, kiss me, This is my least favorite one.
I don't have a least favorite trope in romantic comedies. They're all my least favorite. But I'm actually the opposite, because I have had many an awkward moment with an ex-girlfriend, not with a current partner, but just together. So that rings true to me.
Let me correct myself. I mean, out of all the rom-coms where this trope happens, this specific movie is my least favorite confrontation or meeting or whatever.
Dig it.
Finally, Mary comes to realize that things aren't actually great. With Steve, no, that would be too lucid, and Mary is chugging beer like it's junior prom. Steve helps Mary back to her apartment and lets her go all soliloquy about how Keith is married, Wendy is about to give birth to his child, and she's just a rich, powerful, and ambitious wedding planner that is in high demand with a huge apartment and morals. Said morals are hanging on by a thread as Steve reveals that he's got feelings for Mary. Keith was a fool to pick Wendy over her. Mary turns him down. She respects Fran too much.
How about you respect yourself?
I mean, like I said before, it's when it comes to matters of the heart. She turns him away, which we can all be like,
yes.
You go, girl.
Yes. This movie is infuriating to me, mostly because of the details, not the broad stuff. I think that the story about a wedding planner falling in love with the groom-to-be could be very easily cute and fun and relatable. There's a whole subgenre of rom-coms where the weak part of a love triangle winds up falling in love. That's the Cyrano story. Ugly Truth, He's Just Not That Into You, The Duff, many, many others.
The Duff. Oh my God, I love The Duff.
That's another good one.
Oh my God, it is.
But everybody is being such a raging jerk in this film that it has me rooting for Massimo, of all people, to flee while he has the chance.
But how are they being jerks?
Shall we?
Yeah, we shall.
Steve lies to his fiancée, continues to flirt with the wedding planner, hides his affection, and then when his target of affection is drunk and unable to really articulate herself, that's when he confesses his love for her.
Oh my God.
Now, Fran uses her parents' money to get the best wedding in the world, ignores her fiancé, castigates his work as a pediatrician, and has those doubts and isn't voicing them. Because why? Why? Next up, we've got Jerry, who is problematic. And then we have Mary, who starts off sweet and genuine and has a backstory that we don't get nearly enough of.
Yeah.
And then she finds out that the target of her affection is the affianced of a client.
Oh my God, Steele, you are so right. Now I want to go cry because I love this movie so much, and now I'm just like, no.
I'm sorry to ruin it for you.
It's okay. I will still watch it, actually.
And I just want to say to everybody, it's okay to like stuff that you might have some problems with. I like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and if I call this film problematic, yeah.
Where's the one where he's with like a skull?
The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh, yeah.
Future Critics in the Crowd episode.
Oh, yeah.
Steve is now free to pursue his passion for Mary. Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. I skipped ahead.
Yeah, I was like, what?
I'm leaving that in. Wedding planning continues apace, albeit with snafus, dresses, flowers, and much else getting in the way of eternal love. Most importantly, there's Fran's cold feet. She confesses to Mary that she's been having second thoughts. Is she still in love with Steve? Mary keeps it all professional and pushes Fran to keep on keeping on towards marriage. Mary similarly acquiesces to the seemingly inevitable when Massimo dramatically proposes to her at a party. Mary accepts. I mean, it's not like she has any self-worth or anything, right? I guess there's going to be a happy ending after all.
This leaves Penny to coordinate the Donnelly wedding. Mary, ever the romantic, decides that the best place for her is at City Hall. I've heard of spiraling out of control, but this is ridiculous. Finally, however, someone has some sense. Fran has some sense. Steve's unsure, and Fran admits that she's unsure too. Thank God. Fran decides to leave Steve and go on her honeymoon solo, where maybe she'll find a guy who's interested in marrying a beautiful, rich heiress.
Did you ever go to a wedding where you knew it wasn't going to last?
Holy cow, that's a wild question. No, I've probably been to like 5 weddings in my life.
5 weddings? Well, I guess.
I'm literally 22.
Yeah.
The first 3 were literally, actually all of them have been my family. None of my friends are getting married yet.
When you said that, I'm like, oh yeah. You're
well, actually, I want to talk about it. No.
Offline, I want to hear what this story is about.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is the point we had to get to in the movie where like there's a big wedding and it's a big spectacle and it's like a bride getting in a taxi cab and leaving, and that's why like none of the feelings could be said. But also it's a movie, that's why none of the feelings could be said. Like I think in real life we would actually be saying like it'd be like bah, 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 red flag. I'm going to let her know right away. I mean, I feel like that's the job of a wedding planner, put aside your efforts, your, I guess, money-making efforts or capitalistic efforts or whatever, and really like help people. I mean, that's the point, You want people to be happy, and maybe you can plan a future wedding. But I'm glad Fran comes to her senses and leaves. And I think all of us like in the movie are watching, because we really want Mary and Eddie to be together. I think we can all like take a breath at this point. We're like, oh, it's time. But yeah. And also, she gives Penny all the commission for the wedding, which makes her really, really nice for doing that. I think she kind of like redeems herself at the end, Mary, without, having not said anything, but she redeems herself by giving Penny like the money, whatever.
I'll agree with that.
Also, we have the scene where Mary wins a bet about how long a wedding would last.
Yeah.
So like, these wedding planners are also like, these people have money. They're going to get married like 5 times over. And so, I think there's a sense of caring for your client and also being like, okay, if this is who the client chooses, I really have no say. It's not my place to have a say in any of this. So I think she was fighting, that as well. But of course, it's really just for the plot. That's why she's fighting it. But
it is drama. It is a narrative. So it doesn't have to necessarily go along with what real life would go along with.
Correct.
As a recommendation to writers out there, everybody always asks me how to write realistic dialogue. Don't write realistic dialogue. Realistic dialogue is boring. Write witty dialogue. Quentin Tarantino doesn't write realistic dialogue. He writes witty dialogue. Nora Ephron, witty dialogue. Diablo Cody, witty dialogue. Kevin Smith, witty dialogue. Even in here, witty dialogue, not realistic dialogue.
I think you and Quentin Tarantino will be really good friends.
Steve is now free to pursue his passion for Mary, but will it be too late? We need a patented ultimate show of love. Steve rushes to City Hall where the wedding is about to take place. Everybody's putting on their best face, which ain't great if we're being honest, but hey, maybe the common sense fairy finally got off his rump to spread some awareness dust because Salvatore realizes that Mary doesn't want this. What does Mary want? She doesn't know. She's given up on the idea of true love. Life ain't a fairy tale, and if Mr. Right doesn't exist, Mr. Right here does. Wow. Talk about romance.
Steve appears seemingly missing his shot. Or has he? Mary's booked it. With a ring on her finger? Nope. Salvatore and Massimo fill in the clueless doctor about Mary's maelstrom of emotions. Massimo himself couldn't go through with the wedding, knowing that she didn't love him.
It's Steve she loves, for reasons that continue to baffle TikTok advice streamers and professional life coaches and podcast co-hosts alike.
Excuse me. Massimo, however, is happy to escort Steve to the local park on his scooter. Mary's there, watching yet another movie at the theme park outdoor cinema. It's a classic rom-com ending, with Steve and Mary confessing their feelings, dancing, and sealing the deal with a kiss. And you know what I say?
Do it! They deserve each other! Final thoughts, Liz?
Oh my God, we did that. I can't believe, I never thought we'd get through the synopsis. First of all, the same taxi driver. He leaves the wedding. It's the same taxi driver because he has the little like neck. I thought that was such a cute little detail. You might miss if you're not paying close enough attention, but I'm pretty sure all of us like really know. They really made it a point to make sure that we could see that damn taxi driver and his friggin' ice cream. Okay. Also, this is classic going for the girl. This is one of my favorites. And we get to come full circle. We're back at the first date. Are you freaking kidding me? It's that magnetic gaze that Matthew McConaughey has. He can make any woman feel like the most beautiful thing to ever walk this earth. You know, she is what makes the world go round in his eyes. This is why we love Matthew. He is such a versatile actor. And I'm sorry he got stuck in the rom-com trap, but there is something to say about rom-com leading men. Not all can do it. Truly, not all can do it. It's something very special.
Agreed. There is a certain level of everything that you need to hit. You can't be too attractive. I mean, you have to be attractive,
right?
But you can't be stunningly beautiful. There has to be an approachability to you.
Of course.
You can't be, you can be wealthy. You can like have this kind of magnetism to you, but there has to be some kind of edge to your personality as well. Maybe the edge is the wrong word. It's kind of a softness. It is that approachability, that attractiveness mixed with charm, mixed with approachability, and let's be frank, a look that could melt salt.
Yeah. Also, the end credit song I forgot was "My Love Don't Cost Something." I was laughing So hard. I don't remember that was the song at the very end. This is like a random thing, but I was watching the making of video, which we'll talk about later in the trivia, the making of video on that E! News did for the film. And they have an interview with Adam Shankman talking about the dancing scene, the confrontation dancing scene. There is no lovemaking in this film.
Yes, which I appreciate, actually.
Yeah. And I realized that two of my most favorite rom-coms in the world have no lovemaking scenes. And I'm like, wait, it's so okay, serendipity. That's what it is.
Oh, I like Serendipity.
Right? Isn't it so good? Yeah.
I hate the concept of that movie. Like, if you love it, throw it away and it'll come back. I hate that concept. No! If you find someone for you, hold on to that person and never let go.
You're so right. But it's supposed to be serendipitous.
I know.
They did meet serendipitously.
I know. Yeah. Hold on loosely, but don't let go.
Dude, okay, so who's singing Do We Like Better, Steele or mine?
No, not. Okay. That's not even. Don't even go there.
Okay.
I did do musical theater.
Oh, okay.
I do like how everything kind of comes around in this film. I don't like a lot of the choices that were made in this movie, but I find that the narrative setup and payoff and coming full circle, as you said, and the kiss, and as you also said, it's not about the sex, it's about the romance and the love. I like all of those aspects. I don't have a problem with sex in films. It has to be used purposefully, and when it's used as I've conquered you, I don't like that aspect. And so having the ending be a kiss, as happens in so many romance films, that I think is great. I love Amelie. Amelie is one of my favorite movies ever. It ends with intercourse, and it's my least favorite part of the film because I feel that everything up until that point, which does have intercourse and it works, and I just don't buy that as like the culmination of love. That for me, that is not the culmination of love.
I hear you. Trivia.
Minnie Driver was initially considered for this role as it was being developed. Brendan Fraser was also set to star in this, but scheduling conflicts with his film Bedazzled forced him out. I highly recommend Bedazzled. Despite its flaws, it's a very funny film and a much better look at the difference between realistic love and idealized love, despite it being a true fantasy film.
This was Jennifer's first rom-com, as we know, and it was exciting to know that she was actively seeking out this role. It's very inspiring, and gosh, to have that much power in the biz. Wow.
It'd be nice to be able to say, I want this, not that. This, not that.
Yes, please.
Yet another potential couple, real-life spouses Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. I'm not sure that they could have saved the script for me, Steele, but that's a dynamic that I think I would have enjoyed more. I've also seen conflicting reports that Jennifer Love Hewitt was developing a movie with a similar premise, that she was forced to abort due to the release of this film. Regardless, it didn't work out for JLH.
Matthew lovingly coined the term hardest for his role of Steve. And boy, did we really get that heart. That is something so special. I do think hardest is kind of like a funny thing to say, but like he was also very much in his like 2001 era in this interview. I'm all pulling from the interview on E! News, which I think you should definitely watch. It's on YouTube. It's very old. It's all compiled together. Anyway, hardest. I want to be a hardest.
H-E-R.
H-E-R-T-IST. Like heartist. He kind of like didn't really explain it too much. He just said he's a hardest, and then was like, this guy's got heart. He like has a lot of, I don't know.
Much different than hardest, which I just thought was we were going for.
Hardest?
Yeah.
Oh, he's like hard. H-A-R-D.
Oh, you sweet summer child.
What? Okay.
Joanna Gleason, who plays Fran Donnelly's mother, is admonished not to sing. Gleason is actually a professional actor and singer who has appeared on Broadway numerous times. She even won a Tony for Best Actress in a Musical for the 1988 original run of Into the Woods. I appeared in Into the Woods in high school. I was Prince Charming. Also, I played him in the show. I've heard Gleason sing, and she is phenomenal. You can hear her on Spotify in that role. Theater nerds, run, do not walk to your nearest phone or smart speaker.
She played the baker's wife.
Yes,
I played the baker's wife in high school.
Yeah, up high into the woods.
Woo! We were into the woods in high school, but not at the same time.
A couple decades apart.
Yeah. Also in the E! News interview, it is revealed that Shankman asked his actors to talk or speak in a sort of golden age of Hollywood cadence. And the only time it's different is in this ballroom confrontation scene. And as I was watching, I was kind of like gathering a bit of like this, like, especially when Jennifer's doing her like, and you're the most, and she's like, doing those really like soft scenes where she's like, and I love you, like those confession scenes where she's almost crying, but she's not crying. Her eyes are like a little glazed over because like, they're watery. There's that feeling, I think, from there.
I dig.
Good.
3 years prior to the release of The Wedding Planner, Shankman wrote and directed Cosmo's Tale, an MOS that is a soundless short film that appeared at the Sundance Film Festival. It was his sister, Jennifer, who clued him in on a script that she was engaged with at Fine Line Features. This was The Wedding Planner. Shankman had a meeting with the studio execs and reportedly had the job in under 10 minutes. This wasn't the first time Shankman had similarly impressed. Shankman broke into professional choreography in a 1989 music video with director Julian Temple. When the hired choreographer fell through, Shankman lied and said that he had done choreography for Janet Jackson and Paula Abdul. He was hired on the spot without his story being verified. Fake it till you make it, lads and lasses.
That would never work now. Never, ever. There's too much social media presence that people would know. Everyone would know. This is the worst. I want to go back in the day. I want to go back. The ballroom scene took 2 months for Matthew to learn, and there were 2.5 pages of dialogue. Holy cow. I know. And of course they said, oh yeah, Jennifer picked it up really fast. But of course they were going on about how Jennifer is just a hard worker and I just aspire to be her, just hardworking and can dance and can wear a red dress and look that good. Oh God.
This film has 14 credited producers, including 6 executive producers, 6 standard producers, and 2 co-producers. With all the wrangling of the script and everything, that's not a shock. It's a lot, but not a shock.
Lopez's second album, J-Lo, reached number 1 on the Billboard 200 the same week as The Wedding Planner's release. This made Lopez the first entertainer to achieve a number 1 album and a number 1 film simultaneously in the same week.
She was big before this movie. This movie really catapulted her into the stratosphere. She'd done films and she'd been noted for them. Selena and Out of Sight, particularly. Anaconda made a bungload of money. But this was... She had a complete turn in her career. She had a great album. She was in the spotlight. Things really exploded for her in a way. Not that she wasn't known before, but she took a big leap with this movie.
Yeah.
Pros.
A pro is the true romantic feel of the movie. It's just very beautiful.
I like the look of this film a lot. Not necessarily the editing. We're going to get into that in the cons. But it does look like a wedding magazine. It does have that soft look that we were talking about. The colors are vibrant without being garish. It's pretty to look at. It's the kind of film that they used to make where they would actually go on location and not just be a green screen, and you'd get to see all of these amazing places. I really enjoyed that.
The chemistry between our 2 leads. I think they have amazing chemistry. I think that these are 2 people that come from very different worlds, and when they came together, they made something very special. And I like their romance.
I like the world building in this. I felt that the first act, it didn't hum, but it worked for me. I like that she has a utility belt. I like that we know all about her strengths as a wedding planner. There is a moment early on in the film where 2 women look up at her and say, the wedding planner, she must lead the most romantic life in the world. And it's yeah, if you can do, if you can't teach. So I really enjoyed that aspect of the film.
This is a solid story. We have clear-cut lines, and this is a quintessential rom-com. I think it does everything it needs to do, and everything came together in this sort of beautiful storm, and now we have something that will live on forever and be, I feel high up there when it comes to tier of rom-coms.
I like the subtle humor in this. There's a lot of broad humor that I don't like. We'll get into that in just a second. But I find the small gags, the visual gags, the beats that happen to Mary and with Mary at these various weddings and venues and things, I think that all works out very, very well. It's a nice kind of through line, with the exception potentially of that solo scene at the beginning and a couple other spots. It kind of moves at a pace. It never felt slack to me, with a couple exceptions.
My final pro is Matthew McConaughey. That's it. Cons. I didn't have very many cons, but...
Oh, I'm shocked.
Oh, whatever. The silliness of the chosen plot is a con, You were pointing out a lot of things to me, and I was like, oh, man. It's clear what's going on, but there are very questionable methods, and that is a detractor.
Pretty much everything you had as a pro, I had as a con. I didn't like the chemistry. I didn't find their chemistry all that compelling. I didn't like the foundations of their romance being like this.
Pretty bad.
The narrative is very tropey. Now, I will say, tropes aren't necessarily a problem. It's just that these that are in this film, I didn't find to work together. That being said, every single trope that has been in this film, I have liked in another film. Okay. I just didn't buy it in this one.
Some acting things, just from J-Lo, I think, just some patterny sounds. Like when I'm talking about like when she's like having the heart to heart, really, it gets very similar. The sounds and the patterns. So that's my only thing.
As I said up above, I'm not a huge Jennifer Lopez fan, although I have loved her in certain roles. I'm giving her a slight pass here. Both she and Maddie McSee, this is really their kind of first real rom-com, and they're finding their sea legs. I think that they did much better romantic comedies after this one. Made in Manhattan and How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, I think, are both very nice films, and they both qualify.
Made in Manhattan. Next, please. Personal opinion. I truly love this movie, as I've said many times before, and will continue to say. I could watch it over and over and over again, and will continue to do so. Adam Shankman truly captures something special in this film. It's soft and warm and cozy and funny and romantic, all in one. It does everything a romantic comedy is supposed to do. I can see how some of you may find it cheesy and dumb, but yes, it is. It's supposed to be. In my eyes, this movie is perfect.
I don't go into films looking to dislike them. I really do try to give them the benefit of the doubt and also try to keep my perspective clear. Sometimes a film just isn't meant for me. So when there's a genre that has tropes that don't quite appeal to me, like slasher horror films, as an example, I tend to grade on a curve, temper my expectations. I wouldn't go to a steakhouse and complain that there aren't vegetarian options. That being said, I really like romantic comedies, and I've written a couple. If we're going full-on rom-com, that's a bit more of a stretch, but I've also had fun with The Proposal, 13 Going on 30, and Future Critics in the Crowd entry, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. But this, The Wedding Planner, it ain't it, Chief. There are some technical aspects that I detailed above, but when it comes down to it, I didn't find either of the main characters likable. The chemistry just wasn't there for me, and while I did laugh at a few points, there weren't enough highs to cover over the lows. The verdict. The critics in the crowd are divided. 17% of professionals have a positive opinion of this film, while 59% of audiences enjoy, a single point below the fresh marker on Rotten Tomatoes. Liz, this was your pick. Who got it right? The critics, the crowd, both, neither?
I have a score that's different from both of my critics and my crowd, but I'm going to say my crowd is more right than my critics. I gave it a 4.5. I gave it 4.5 stars, which is my highest rating so far.
4.5 stars out of 4. I'm going to go with you and also say neither. I really don't like this movie, but I think it's much better than a half star. This is a competently made film. I just don't like the two leads, and more importantly, the writing of them just didn't engage me. There's no way I would recommend this movie to anyone who is of my similar opinion, but obviously you like it.
Yeah.
And a half-star movie for me is something more like Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, which has a gigantic budget, but is a narrative mess, or Cool World, which was butchered from beginning to end. In other words, films that just don't work at all. And that is not this film. It works. It's just not my cup of tea.
I feel like this movie does what it needs to do, and it just makes me feel so happy. And I think movies like this are what we need in the world right now.
There's nothing wrong with enjoying a film and turning off your brain, and we're going to cover quite a few of those in this podcast. Thanks for tuning into The Critics in the Crowd. We're so excited to have you along for this journey, even when it takes us down paths where rom-com junkies fear to tread. Rate and subscribe to us on your favorite podcatcher, unless you don't like the show, in which case, keep your big trap shut. Any parting pearls of matrimonial wisdom, Liz?
If you're the wedding planner, don't steal someone's fiancé.
Words to live by.
Thank you. The Critics in the Crowd is hosted by Liz Ramirez and Steele Philippek. Editing and production handled by Steele. Social media by Wendy Dobkin. Logo by Aria Feliciano. Music by Joel Studler, provided by a Humble Bundle. All audio effects are sourced through freesound.org and used under the Creative Commons license. If you feel that we used a piece of audio to which you own the rights, please email helmstarmedia@gmail.com.